to get those documents back like you did. And so that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
I'm not going to sit here tonight and point fingers at anybody. It was a tough assignment. I will say, I hope reporters, journalists will look at what happened last night and see that as basically a preseason film about, and study it to see what needs to be avoided moving forward.
We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house. When Biden has his documents, he won't give back the 1,850 boxes. And you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was Biden who alerted them that he had the documents. The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when he had the documents? The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when he had the documents? The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when
We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house. When Biden has his documents, he won't give back the 1,850 boxes. And you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was Biden who alerted them that he had the documents. The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when he had the documents? The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when he had the documents? The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when
This insanity should be pulled off the fucking air. Chris Licht, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is astoundingly bad for the brand of CNN.
Questions about what your immigration policy would look like if you are reelected. Some of your Republican rivals have criticized you for not fulfilling the promises that you made on the campaign trail, like finishing the border wall. So how did voters know that you would get those done if you're reelected?
I did finish the wall. I built a wall. I built hundreds of miles of wall. And I finished it. And then I said, we have to build some more because there are areas like water going through a dam. There are some areas where a lot of people are coming. You close up one and they come into another. And we started another 100 miles of wall. In fact, I said to my people, if we start this and don't finish it, and then we had a rigged election, I'm sorry to say it.
The election was not rigged, Mr. President. You can't keep saying that all night long.
And so then they took over and they decided.
The election was not rigged, Mr. President. You can't keep saying that all night long.
And so then they took over.
The election was not rigged, Mr. President. You can't keep saying that all night long.
And so then they took over. I built hundreds of miles of wall. If we didn't have it, it would be hard to believe it could be any worse. They're just letting people flow into our country. Look, a country has to have borders. There's never been anything like is happening to our country right now.
You built about 52 miles of new wall when you were in office, Mr. President. It wasn't the complete wall. One other thing that with
no, but I have to respond to that.
With your immigration, it was only about 52 miles of new wall.
This is what she does. I built hundreds of miles. Some of the wall was up there, and it would be laying on the ground, rusted, rotten steel, rusted, rotten wood, a little. And what the radical left, crazy Democrats did, if there's a piece of wood laying down, they consider that a wall. I built 30-foot walls that go down 7 feet into the ground. If there was a little piece of wood sitting in the ground, they said, oh, he's not building a wall. We already had a wall. Because this is the game. They're a party of disinformation.
It's not a game, Mr. President. It's about 52 miles of new wall. One other immigration policy you had when you were in office.
I built new wall.
52 miles
for hundreds of miles.
CBP, Mr.
What I did is I replaced other wall that was laying down, that was up and rotting in the ground for 30 years. Some of it was steel that you couldn't even see.
Mr. President, it was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration policy you had. It was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration policy you had was. It was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration policy you had.
It's astoundingly bad, honestly, folks, for every other Republican candidate in the primaries. Wrap that shit up. It's done. You saw this tonight. You know you can't beat him on the stage.
One of the big problems was that Nancy Pelosi, Crazy Nancy as I affectionately call her, Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington were in charge, as you know, of security. And they did not do their job.
National Guard. You're in charge of the
They
National
are in
Guard.
Well, I offered them National Guard. I said, we'll give you soldiers, we'll give you National Guard, we'll give you whatever you want. And they turned me down.
You're
and in
acting
fact, she
defense
turned me down.
secretary.
She turned me down in writing. They turned me down.
But your acting defense secretary, Chris Miller, at the time, he says you never gave a formal order to deploy the National Guard. But when it came to that day,
just the opposite.
He
Chris Miller wrote a book, and he's a fantastic guy, and he was ready to go. They turned him down. If you look, the mayor of Washington, D.C., lovely lady, she said, we don't want it. We don't like the look. Nancy Pelosi said, oh, we don't like the look. If they would have had I offered them 10,000 soldiers. I said, it could be 10, it could be more, but I offered them specifically 10,000 soldiers. If they would have taken 500 soldiers, you wouldn't have had the problem. They turned it down. And if you look at the Inspector General report, he says they turned it down. They made a terrible mistake.
Well, Chris Miller was your acting defense secretary. He says you never gave that order. But back to what happened on that day.
He
You said you weren't.
He did not say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He
President.
did not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
Sure,
that
of
speech
course.
that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home? When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home? When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
Everybody else, oars up, time to go to work because he's going to be the nominee. This shit is unfucking believable. I've never seen anything like it. It is a disaster of the highest fucking degree.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO. When I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of.
He had the documents. The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when you had the documents? The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over?
Their election was not rigged, Mr. President. You can't keep saying that all night long.
And so then they took over.
Their election was not rigged, Mr. President. You can't keep saying that all night long.
And so then they took over.
There was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration policy you had was there was only about 52 miles of new wall, but moving on, another immigration policy you had when they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers. Why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home? When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.